Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his closest advisors rely heavily on data, on numbers that can tell a story. Trudeau's PMO, in fact, is the first in history to ask the Privy Council Office, the PCO, to run a comprehensive weekly polling program to track its own performance and keep on top of the issues Canadians think are important.
Global News used access to information laws to get those internal polls. The most recent are from January to June, but they tell a clear story. Canadians were giving the government a failing grade. The polls show that more Canadians said the government was on the wrong track every week for 6 months, and that gap between wrong and right was widening. The PMO got the message, and in July, the Prime Minister shuffled his cabinet, putting one of his rising stars, Nova Scotia's Sean Fraser, as the point person on housing. That was an issue those internal polls had also flagged as one that needed urgent attention. But the Prime Minister kept his Environment Minister in place, Montreal MP Stephen Guilbeault, and the PM's advisors could point to their internal polls again for that decision. First, Quebec voters consistently rated climate change and the environment as the most important issue of the day, even as Canadians in Ontario, the West, and Atlantic Canada were saying that the cost of housing and inflation was the #1 issue. Second, Quebec was the only region where more voters consistently said the Trudeau government was on the right track rather than the wrong track.
If the Trudeau government loses support in Quebec, well, that is the ballgame in the next election. And that's one of the big takeaways from this series of internal polling. The Trudeau government has little choice but to gear its priorities to the priorities of Quebecers, even if those priorities might be at odds with the rest of the country.